What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. I have, again, my beautiful wife on, and we talk about things that we're getting after. And it's a fun conversation, so stay tuned. Let's get into it.
Dang, you look hot.
I look so good right now.
I know you do.
Yeah, it's insane. Ohio State and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm part of the family.
About time.
Yeah.
Took a year and a half.
I know. That's one thing everyone should know about me. I'm not a sports guy, and so I try
You're
my
fake.
best. I'm a fake, but I'm not ashamed to admit it. So, you know,
Okay. As long as you're repping the right teams when you are supporting the sports.
Super Bowl is tomorrow.
Correct.
I'm going for the Eagles.
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
You too?
Yes, of course. No one's more annoying than Patrick Mahomes, honestly.
Really?
Correct.
Tell me why.
Well, I can't say I have a strong opinion considering I haven't been really into sports since I got married. I used to be into sports, though.
Yeah, you knew everything.
But one thing, it's kind of like Patrick's like the LeBron, where it's like everyone's kind of annoying about him, and it makes me not even really like LeBron all that much.
Yeah.
He's great. He's good. Kind of annoying. I'm okay with the refs not sucking him off. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm with you too. I always get sad whenever I watch The Last Dance or talk about Michael Jordan or any of those guys because they were just monsters. They just get pushed down, beaten up, but they always were relentless.
You love that word.
I love that word. It's so good. But anyways, baby girl, welcome back.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
And I have a lot to talk to you about because you've been getting after it quite a bit.
You think so? I'm honored.
I know you have been.
Wow. Thank you.
First and foremost,
Yes.
you launched a podcast yourself.
Who would have thought? First time you had me on your podcast was the summer before we got married. And I think I had...
It's at a hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were in Park City.
Yeah, okay.
I think I had an anxiety attack. I was shaking the entire time. I sound shaky too.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable. But I did it for you because I loved you.
That's my third highest played episode.
Really?
Yep.
To this day?
It's Allie Murphy, Be Hard to Kill.
That's embarrassing
3.
because everyone was probably curious to see how we are as like a couple. And I'm like, ah.
Well, we were dating.
Right.
And now we're married.
Correct.
So it's a lot different.
Okay.
But you started a podcast.
Yes.
What's it
and I'm
called?
shocked that we got to this point. It's called Siblings in Crime.
Okay.
My brother and I started it together. And we talk
Allegedly
about true.
started it together.
You love allegedly. You think that's so funny.
Go listen to her podcast. It's so good, actually.
You're so funny because you give me so much credit. We're brand new. We're like, what, 7 episodes in? 7, 8, something like that? So already lasting longer than a lot of podcasts. So I'm proud in that way. But yeah, it was a pretty rash decision. Blake just came to me one day and said we should start a true crime podcast because we both listen to true crime nonstop. Yeah. And I said, okay. And I started working on it right away. And then I was like, are you serious? And he's like, I'm serious. I'm like, I don't believe you.
I remember the conversations. You're always like, I don't know if this is going to last.
I was like, I feel like he's just joking. And I'm going to do all this work. And he's going to be like, I was joking. I'm like, oh, great. So, yeah, our first 3, I think we recorded. We didn't post any of those 3.
Yeah.
We posted our 4th. And then we re-recorded 2 of them. But thank heavens because I think already we've progressed a bit. Hopefully we just keep progressing. But I know that's how it is with the beginning of a podcast. I know it takes some time.
How many times have I told you to go listen to episode 8 of this one? Which,
T-Pain.
by the way, if you're listening to this one, yeah, go listen to that one. It's me and my buddy Stan, but we're auto-tuned the whole time. Horrible. But you got to get the learning curve. You know, it's part of the process.
Right.
You got to get those terrible episodes done, and then
it's all about the reps.
It's all about the reps, and then eventually you get better.
Right.
It's like with everything in life.
So it's been really fun. It's been a good time. Blake and I haven't really hung out all that much. Like his girlfriend, obviously, and I are like really good friends, and so we started hanging out more. But it's nice to have something that we do together, and so it's been, and like we're interested in true crime, so it's been fun.
What's been the either biggest learning curve for you, or the most challenging part of having a podcast that you didn't think you would have to run into?
Well, I mean, we're not very far in, so I know challenges are going to come up. Right now, it just turns out I'm just not a huge researcher journalist. And Blake pays for everything, and I do all the work. And it's like, I thought that was a great idea until I realized it does take a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I'm not a very good writer. I'm not very creative. So it's been difficult to make it like enjoyable to listen to. It takes more work than I was expecting. I was hoping I could just wing it because if I knew the story, I could just ad-lib, but turns out I'm not great at ad-libbing.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, I think that's a lot of the reasons why I struggled in the beginning is because I didn't necessarily know how to like research the topics that I was interested in and have a conversation about them and actually like be like, hey, this is valuable. Mm-hmm. But to your point, it's like you figure out what's important and then you just work on that, like either topic or for you, it's stories.
Right.
So you have to be kind of accurate with your stories. For me,
that's what I'm worried about. It's like you can give your opinion. Yeah. I'm like, I got to get the facts right or someone's going to come at me one day. But
people come at me still today. So
people suck.
Welcome to the club.
I mean, having your podcast, like I think all the bumps that we could have bumped into have been avoided since you're like, oh, you're going to need to get on Spotify creators and you're going to need to get on Buzzsprout and do this. I was like, I thought you just like posted a video, like Instagram, like Facebook, whatever, like super easy.
Wish.
So I think I've been able to avoid a lot because of you. So thank you.
Of course. You know,
my number one fan.
Always will be.
That's right. So it really has just been fun right now, honestly. So I'm grateful for that, but just more work than I was expecting, which is fine, especially right now since flying is kind of slow for me right now. So
that's okay. Have you done a story that you were either just like really shocked about or a story that like made your skin crawl a little bit?
Well, of course, but I hate to say it. I might be a little desensitized to the skin crawling stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we've been watching Criminal Minds since I was out of the womb, basically. And so as far as like shocking things, like, oh, like decapitated and all that stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, like real original, you know? Sorry. But so it's like nothing really comes that much as a shock. I think our most recent, or not our most recent, but the one before that, where it was the case of a missing child who went on to end up go to the same high school as her actual blood sister unknowingly.
Yeah, that's insane.
And they became friends. One thing led to another, found out the kidnapped child, her parents were actually her kidnappers. And so stories like that, I'm like, that is wild.
That one's sad because you told me to like, so to jump in if I get anything wrong here, but pretty much like the original mother had the child in the hospital.
Right.
And then was it a nurse or who stole the child?
Yeah, just a random lady.
She just walked in and stole the kid.
Yeah, she was pregnant like prior. She lost her baby in a miscarriage. And so she lined it with when she's going to be giving birth so that she could bring a baby home more unexpectedly or more unsuspiciously.
That's insane.
And so, yeah, she just, while the mom was napping, grabbed the baby and dipped.
That's horrible.
Ended up raising the baby like 2 miles down the road type of thing.
Yeah,
like,
and in a good home though, right? Like they didn't have any issues or anything.
That's also a weird thing, like not your typical kidnapping story where it was like abuse going on.
Or ransom.
Super loving mom, super loving dad, great family. It's just they wanted a baby and couldn't have their own, and she was going to have one way or the other.
Yeah. That's insane. So then what happened after they figured out they were sisters in high school?
Right.
What happened then?
That'd be so heartbreaking for the girl who was kidnapped because she loved her parents, didn't suspect anything.
Yeah.
And so to find out they're your kidnappers, have your home ripped apart. She still has a good relationship with her
kidnapped parents? Kidnapper parents?
Kidnapped dad with her dad.
Okay.
Evidently, he didn't know that the wife kidnapped this baby.
What?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you just came home with a baby even though you had a miscarriage.
Well, she didn't know she had a miscarriage.
He never told her.
She never told him that she had a miscarriage. Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
So evidently, he thought the baby was his. And I don't know how, but allegedly, he didn't know. And so he still has a great relationship with that daughter. She now is like really close with her biological family and they're all together. So like she's obviously had a lot of repairing to do with her life, realizing like your whole identity. She was 17 when she found out. So her name was fake. Her family was fake. So finding out, she changed her name to her biological name. Yeah.
Wow. What would you do?
Probably change my name. If like your kidnapper mom named you, you'd probably want to, but that'd be hard because like your name carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But
I'd have to weigh the two options.
Like, which name do I like better?
Yeah. What is it, Jason or Brett? I'd pick Brett.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't want to be a Jason.
I didn't know you had beef with Jasons.
I mean, they're just not a very creative name. Sorry, Jason's out there.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, I mean, I think she's doing well now. The podcast I watched that she was on, she was telling her story. Her mom got out of jail last year, but she's on probation now. And I guess she wants to go, her mom.
Yeah.
She wants to go ask her questions, find out like how she pulled this off. How did no one know? Like, did anyone else know? Ask some of those questions. So I don't think she's gotten a lot of answers. I think it's just probably starting to get her life together. She's now married. She has 3 kids.
Wow.
Yeah. The social worker that helped her during this time, she actually lived with that social worker for a little bit instead of a safe house. She went to her wedding and stuff. So like she has a great relationship with those that helped her. And
when did this all happen? Like what year?
2015 is when it unfolded that she was
that's crazy.
Found. This is in South Africa. So
okay. All right.
So we probably didn't hear the story. But
that's okay.
But still insane, yeah. So she was born, I think 97. She was like our age.
Yeah.
Yeah, found in, that doesn't make sense. 17 in 2015. Does that make sense?
It should 15. Be 98 then. She was born 98.
Okay, born in 98. So I'm bad at math.
It's okay.
Yeah, found in 2015. And yeah, been doing pretty well, I guess, since then. But
yeah, tell me the story about the one that's like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You've never seen the Temple of Doom?
No.
Really?
What makes this story
so let me tell you the story of Temple of Doom, and then you'll understand.
Okay.
So there's this cult that Indiana Jones goes after, and he finds out that the leaders are doing human sacrifices, and he's the guy. You've really never seen this movie?
I don't think so. I think I've seen Indiana Jones, but I mean, my memory is like local fish.
Okay, we'll have to watch this. But anyway, so this guy, he has this power or something where he's able to reach in and grab people's hearts while they're like still beating.
That sounds like Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. Or not Zombie Island. Like that. Spooky Island.
Spooky Island. Yeah. Okay.
Those vibes.
With the souls?
Yeah.
Yeah, except these guys die.
Oh, great.
And then they get lowered into like a lava pit.
Oh, gosh.
After their hearts ripped out.
Wait, this sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah.
Did the chick of the story like almost go down into the lava pit?
Yeah, she was like in the chamber thing. She didn't
I think I saw some of that at the gym the other day, actually. I think it was playing in the cinema.
Really?
That's all I remember from it.
Okay. But yeah, that kind of thing. So, tell me
Magdalena Solis.
Yes, about Magdalena.
Magdalena, poor girl. She really had a rough start. She didn't have a chance at life.
Yeah.
But yeah, she grew up in poverty. She went on to be a prostitute in Mexico. Her brother was her pimp. Couple years older than her. Yeah, it's sad things. I think he prostituted a little bit.
I'd probably pimp out Drew.
Yeah, Drew would be okay with it.
Drew, would you like to be pimped out? I think we have a good business plan.
He would love that, honestly. If he wasn't married and happy and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
He'd be great. So I think that's so their upbringing already messed up.
Yeah.
Right. And that causes some mental things sometimes. And anyways, these 2 brothers, Hernandez brothers, I want to say.
It sounds like the guys that killed their parents.
That's the Mendez brothers.
The Mendez, okay. See, I don't know true crime.
But so they really just want to take advantage of people. They wanted money and power, all the things. And they came across this town, a little village in Yerba Bueno. I think it's called Yerba Bueno.
Which is where?
Mexico.
Like Central Mexico or?
Central South, I think.
Okay.
Don't fact check me. What do I know? Geography, my worst. Worse than math. And so they just wanted to take advantage of these people, gain power. So they told these people that they are these prophets, basically, sent from the Inca gods. And these villagers, it was only like 70 people, or a small village. They believed them. They went out in the caves. They ended up living in these caves. And these so-called prophets, these brothers, decided that they were going to say that the gods sent them and that they will receive riches if they follow what the brothers say. And so they took advantage of them sexually, big time.
Yeah.
But really took everything they had. And then the village wasn't believing them all of a sudden. And so they're like, we need another sign. Let's go find the Aztec goddess reincarnated. And that's when they went and found Magdalena Solis and her brother. So they brought these siblings back to the cave saying that's the reincarnated Aztec goddess Coatlicue. If I'm saying that right. I probably butchered it 10,000 times.
I don't know. I think it sounds good.
And so they said this is like another... What?
Is that like Quetzalcoatl?
I don't know what that is.
We went to those temples.
Oh, that's what they were called?
That's the god. Quetzalcoatl, the snake god.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Also in Ancient Apocalypse.
What do I know?
Is it not that one?
No, Coatlicue.
Okay.
She's like the goddess of like the sun and rebirth and stuff like that, I think.
Oh, you showed me her statue and it's like the weirdest looking monster looking thing.
She's a snake serpent.
Yeah. Okay. We don't like snakes.
Yeah. Her skirt is like made of snakes and stuff like that.
Let's get you one of those, a snakeskin skirt.
Kind of hot. But so they pretended that she was this reincarnated goddess, that it's another sign from the gods that they're going to get riches and stuff like that. So then they started obeying again just so they can they were having orgies, the whole 9 yards, like getting super doped up. Yeah, and they got to
get high and have orgies in a cave?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It got to Coatlicue's head. Magdalena thought that she really was this goddess.
Yeah.
And so to go along with the stories of Coatlicue, she started performing human sacrifice. And so they would get their villagers on the brink of death and then cut out their heart while it's still beating. But
didn't the villagers like beat her or beat the person that was going to get their heart ripped out or something?
No, they were just getting clapped.
Oh, dang.
They some like the non-believers were the ones that would like get murdered. It wasn't until a young 13-year-old boy came across this cave, saw what was happening, dipped over to the police station, and him and a cop went to investigate, and then those two actually ended up getting murdered as well by the cult.
Jeez. So how many total were killed?
I think like the bodies they found like on record was like 7 or 8, but they think it was up to like 15 or so because people were missing. They even think that some people were sent out and sex trafficked, which is so sad. But
what year was this?
This is not that long ago. I think the 60s.
Okay.
So not as like I was thinking like this had to be in the 1800s.
Yeah, that's insane.
I was like, this is a long time ago. Yeah, not as long back as you thought. But yeah, so when the cop went missing, that's when the authorities went out to go find out what's going on, found the cult, took him in. And I mean, by now, Magdalena and her brother should be they would be out of jail. They finished their sentence. I imagine if they're still alive, they changed their identities, all the 9 yards. But yeah. That's
insane.
Heartbreaking. And it's like,
just shows you how like you can deceive anyone.
Yeah. And the fact that I mean, Magdalena was like 14 when she was this reincarnated goddess, supposedly. Jeez. So she just got dealt, she got put in situations where I think she was just very mentally ill at this point.
Power went to her head a little bit.
Yeah. So
that's brutal.
Pretty heartbreaking, pretty crazy story, but
yeah. I mean, I've told you this a few times. Your podcast and Mr. Ballins are like the only true crime ones I listen to. I listen to yours more than Mr. Ballins.
You don't really like true crime.
Well, that's the thing.
You listen to mine because you like me.
That's the thing is I can't really listen to true crime because it makes me sad.
Right.
How do you balance that? Does that ever get in your head?
Not really. Probably because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
It is really sad. Sometimes it affects me, especially with kids. I don't like kid stuff.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But I think because I've listened to it so much, I kind of associate more with the story rather than reality. So when I hear stories that are more close to home, it affects me stronger. But I think I just compartmentalize. I think that a lot of women are like this, though.
Well, I know women are like most true crime listeners.
I think the reason being is we're just prepping in case something happens. Because literally, okay, this is actually so funny. The other night, listeners, Brett and I were in bed. This is last week or something. We're trying to fall asleep. I'm daydreaming, right? I'm like, okay, if someone breaks in, I'm gonna attack him. I have bear spray next to the bed. We're gonna fight. I'm thinking of our exit route. I'm going all in, and I think about this stuff probably every single night.
Do you think about if they were to come in the window, how you'd act different than if they were to come through the door?
I've never imagined them coming through the window. I'll be honest.
I feel like that's where they would come from, at least in our room.
You think so?
Yeah.
Then they have to move that big crate thing.
Yeah, but then they don't have to go through the front door or anything.
Yeah, I guess. I imagine they'll come through the back door. But anyways, as horrible as that is.
You guys can't come in. I'm locking them.
So I'm thinking of all this stuff. And then as I'm trying to fall asleep, Brett leans over. What did you say?
When was this?
Last week. He says something along the lines of like, it was something like so sweet. Like he was thinking about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you're like, do you think that yada, 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 like if we did this, like it was so sweet. And I'm like, is that really what you're thinking about right now? And you're like, yeah. I was like, I'm thinking about like, what if we're getting attacked and you're like incapacitated and I'm beating this man up. I'm like, hey, wow, that was like, you're having like such jolly thoughts. You're just sitting on your log talking to Jesus in your daydream.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. I always do that. I sit and talk with Jesus before bed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think about that stuff just during the day.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm John Wick sometimes.
I also feel that way about myself.
Yeah.
I think I could handle myself. And then like
I know you can.
I say that and then in a real situation, I think it helps because I had a brother that like bullied me. Not actually, but like
older brothers are legit.
Yeah.
They teach you a lot. They teach you
and
how to
so
fight.
I'm like, okay, like could I actually like this sounds so weird, but like to this day, Blake's like fighting me, you know. We're like, I'm 27, he's 30. I'm like, you're so freaking old. Stop tackling me.
Yeah,
like we're full blown adults.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I think I've gotten the practice in of like how to wrestle and attack and beat up and stuff like
That's
that.
actually one of my favorite things that your family does.
Oh no.
Is jump out and scare you from random places in the house.
Yeah. It's great and it's bad all at the same time.
Like that never really happened to me.
Oh really?
Yeah, growing up, no.
I thought that was every family.
I never really like my brother wasn't waiting around the corner to jump out and scare me. He would just like push me.
That's funny.
But I remember this one time I walk out of our room and your brother's like, he's like slowly walking up the hallway and he just goes, ah.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah. Like it got me so good. Got me so good.
That's funny. I know he scared you before.
And like, you know how I react. You came in and scared me the other day and I was just like, oh.
Well, I've tried to scare you and you don't get scared. And then I walk in the room quietly and you see me and you're like flinch so hard.
Yeah, it's because I'm like deep in thought.
I'm almost never deep in thought. I'll be honest. Like nothing's going through this wheel.
Like anytime I'm doing laundry or something, I just like think about the day, or like if I have a podcast I'm going to be doing, like I think about that. Sense. Or like I'll think about, you know, Jesus. Like if we listen to a conference talk, I'll think about that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Then you just come in and
disturb it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like really things go in one ear out the other so often for me, but
it's okay. It's been fun. So now I scare you a little bit now.
Yeah. I like getting scared. I like scaring. I think it's fun.
I'll post the video that Allie took of me the other day where I was walking out of the bathroom and you were right there and you scared me. But my reaction's just like...
Yeah. It's like as if like I just steal the breath from you for a second.
Yeah.
That's how you react.
I mean, you do take my breath away.
Oh, haha.
Take my breath away.
Okay. One thing about my mom... Yeah, I know the song. Or no, I'm not going to let you sing.
Okay.
Love you though.
Tell me about your mom.
One thing about my mom, she doesn't get scared. She like I'll park down the street, be in a dark house.
Stone cold.
She thinks that I'm not like no one. She doesn't know I'm in town. Okay,
Yeah.
I do all the things to set this up. She walks in the door. I like scream, grab her, and she's like, no emotion, just okay.
She really is stone faced.
It's wild.
It's hilarious. I don't think I've ever seen you scare her. I don't think I've ever been able to scare her.
Absolutely not. I've been trying to scare her my whole life.
Yeah, I want to learn how to do that.
Her emotions are so flatlined. It's like barely any increase or decrease from her natural state.
It's impressive.
Yeah, she's pretty wild.
I mean, I wish I could be like that.
You're pretty tender these days.
Don't say
Brett
this.
will look at me and start crying because he's so grateful.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, it's
I'm like,
true.
okay. It's very sweet.
I mean, you guys see her.
Oh my
right?
gosh, stop.
She's amazing.
You're hilarious.
Tell me, what else have you been getting after? Because it's a long list.
I wouldn't say it's that long.
I think you're trying to tap into your creative piece.
I'm trying. I feel like I have some artistic ability. Not strong, but it's there.
I do.
But the creative part, I suck at. I can look at something, I can draw it, I can paint it. Coming up with something on my own doesn't happen. So I'm trying to do that right now. There's this one chapter in 2 Kings chapter 6. I've been loving it. It's basically the story of Elisha, and he's with his servant, and they see they're getting swarmed by armies.
Yeah.
And the servant's like, holy cow, we got to get out of here. Like, he's freaking out. And Elisha is like, that's the famous scripture. I'm going to butcher it. But along the lines of like, there's more that be with us than them with them.
Yeah.
And he goes on to pray that the servant's eyes can be opened to see this like army of God.
Yeah.
And the servant's eyes are opened and he can see like the chariots of heaven open. And I just have been thinking about that a lot. And we've had some like sadness going on in the world right now. And just like all the plane crashes, and we've had some friends who've passed, and it's just been like a sad time. And I always just keep thinking about there's more that be with us. Yeah. And so I'm trying, I have such strong feelings about that for some reason. And it's been really resonating with me. I want to paint it, and I'm having a hard time being creative with it and thinking of like how to get my feelings and like get the inspiration that's coming to me onto the canvas. So I'm working on that, but I just don't think I can paint as beautifully as I can imagine. And so,
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, maybe not right now, but the more you do it, the better you'll get.
Right.
And I was talking to our aunt,
right?
Because you're married to me now, so she's your aunt too. And we were just talking about like, I was bragging about how you're doing all these things and how you're painting. And I showed her a picture of like the progress that you're making right now. And she said, it's really cool to be able to like have a look into your wife's testimony.
That's cute.
And like how you view the gospel and like how you view angels on the other side and things. Like, it's hard to talk about those things sometimes and actually get the point across that you're trying to make, or like, here's what I learned in reading 2 Kings. Right. Like, you can tell that story of Elisha and is it Elisha?
Elisha. Yeah.
Elisha. You can tell that story of him and the servant and like have people like imagine what that looks like, but you draw it out and you say like, there's way more with us than there are with them. And then you show like all the angels of heaven and everything. Like, I think that's an amazing thing. It's just your perspective on angels.
Yeah, it's very hard to articulate it.
Yeah,
so it's kind of frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, what's your process? How do you think about that stuff?
I've just been rereading it, praying about it. I imagine it. I'm a daydreamer.
Yeah,
but
you have that talent.
I just want someone else to paint it. And I've been looking online. I was like, I will buy someone's painting. Paint this verse for me. And I just have not found what I'm looking for. I'm like, none of this is speaking to me the way the verses do. And so I'm trying to do it on my own. But
that's pretty cool.
So it's been difficult. It's going to be a long process, I think, because even as I paint, I'm like, oh, I'm going to fix a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully the painting is forgivable so I can continue to fix it. But it's been fun so far. One thing about me, I'll paint for like 6 hours one day and then not paint for like 2 months. And so it's going to be hard to like.
When we were first married, you painted a lot.
Yeah. We were first married, I didn't really have anything going on.
Yeah.
I was like waiting for my job to start. It's waiting for training to start. Yeah. So it's like, it was fun.
It's been fun to see, honestly, like you tapping into that again and
it's
getting like
therapeutic for me.
Yeah. Trying to take it up like a next level and be like, okay, well, how can I make this even more beautiful?
Right. Well, painting has always been something stupid for me. Like, I want to go brain dead, I'll go paint. And usually it's like stupid memes or like hate from Australia. Like stupid stuff.
We have some good ones.
They're
Don't
all
say
dumb.
that. No.
Scooby-Doo.
Under the Sea is great.
Under the Sea. It's just.
There's this painting that she made with, there's 4 characters. Each is a different sea animal. There's a turtle.
I think there's 5 characters.
Is there 5? There's a turtle, a jellyfish, a shark, and an octopus. I think that's it.
I think you're right, actually.
It's Theo Von as a turtle, Donald Trump as a jellyfish, Steve Harvey as the shark, and then the Rocktopus.
You're right.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
You're right, actually.
And it's beautiful. I love it.
Wow.
It's my
Thank
favorite.
You. Yeah, so I usually paint like stupid stuff like that just because it's fun. And usually I just
I ask her.
Yeah, yeah, but you didn't ask me for that one. I think you wanted sea animals, and I went with the route of making them all characters.
See, 2 minds create something beautiful.
Right. So usually all my paintings are gifts and like just silly stuff. So it's my first time like actually trying.
Oh, I love it.
And like coming up with my own like concept instead of just like taking a jellyfish or whatever.
I like it.
So it's been fun.
What about quilting? You've been getting into that.
I have been. I bought my first sewing machine.
Very
Hopefully
nice.
It lasts until I'm 100 like everybody else's sewing machines evidently.
Yeah.
It's right over here.
Yeah, you could probably see it actually.
Yes.
I don't have my studio set up for 2 people downstairs yet. So you get the sewing machine in the background.
Yeah.
It's not
Unfortunately. But she's brand new, so she adds some nice creativity to her image.
I think it's fun. Like, it's fun seeing you up here sewing away and like telling me all
Listening to
about
a podcast.
Yeah, telling me about the blankets that you're making and all that stuff.
I'm only making one right now.
Yeah.
But I'm
secret.
making it for my friend.
No, it's not a secret. Never mind.
It's not a secret in terms of like, she doesn't know what it looks like.
Okay, that's fair.
But she's due in April, I think. And so it's my first baby blanket. And hopefully, turns out so far it's been so cute and so fun.
It looks good.
I haven't been able to work on it all that much. I've been in Arizona nonstop.
It's been a lot, but
It's been frustrating.
that's been kind of tough, honestly.
Yeah,
Distance sucks.
this last trip was the longest one in a while. I was starting to lose my mind.
It's horrible.
So
That is one thing that you and I have talked about, though, is like distance does make you appreciate what you have.
Oh, yeah.
And like you came up yesterday and I was
so fun.
I'm taking a half day, screw this. And then we just hung out for the rest of the day and it was so fun.
Yeah. It's like, it does stink, but also like when your time is together, you're like, it's so much more valuable because I got in town yesterday morning and I leave after this podcast. And so we had like a day together, it feels like. And so it's so frustrating. So it's like, you want to spend every second together since we don't have that opportunity to like just hang out tomorrow or whatever. And so it's been special because then we make like the moments count.
Yeah. How do you do that? How do you appreciate the moment? Because that's one thing you and I have talked about a lot is staying present and making sure that like you're in the moment that you are, because that's the only moment that matters right now.
Right. I think it helps. One, we're like never on our phones when we're together. I know some couples love like doom scrolling together, like in bed. That's their favorite part, is they're both just like scrolling on their phone. I don't know if we've ever had our phones in bed, like when we're
together. I don't think. Yeah, maybe not. The only thing I would say is like if we're watching TikToks, like I'll come over and cuddle you, or like you'll come over.
Well, watch one phone or something.
Yeah, it lasts like 3 minutes.
And maybe. I feel like that's like if we're just during the day, like after work, not like before bed type of stuff.
That's true.
But yes, I think we really just try and like be fully engulfed in each other's conversation, like our conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it helps that we talk about how grateful we are all the time. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous outside. We'll just go stand and look out the window. You know, it's like,
that's
I think
true. You made fun of me yesterday because it was like starting to snow.
He's like an old man.
I went out and like
hands behind his back.
Yeah, I looked out of the window and I was just looking outside because it's just gorgeous and like the snow was falling and I was just taking a moment. And now he goes, "What are you looking out there for?"
Oh man, just like watching the birds.
Not yet.
I think it's just practice to get to that point.
Yeah.
Where you can appreciate to slow down. I think everything is just meant to be sped up right now. Like everything is so fast.
Yeah.
And so taking a moment to just hang out, slow down, I think it just takes practice.
Yeah, and talk to each other.
Yeah, of course.
That's honestly like, if I have marriage advice to give anyone, it would just be spend time with your person.
Always getting to know them.
And like, don't pull the phone out. Don't try and get distracted. Ask them about like what they're interested in and like their days and what bothers them. And
it
like
does
the
crack
dumb
me
things.
up sometimes because this is one thing that you're good at that I still am like surprised about a little bit. Is like we do dinner together every night when we can, you know.
Yeah.
Like literally we set the table, like we have the full dinner, not just like at the bar stools, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes
even with placemats.
And we have placemats. We set the table for dinner every night.
But then it's the same thing. It's like broccoli, cauliflower, rice, and chicken.
I mean, it's not fancy, but we're like setting the scene to be able to spend time together.
Yeah.
And one thing about you that always cracks me up, and I've never told you this, is that you really are good at always like getting to know me. Because I'm like, oh, we're married. Like we basically know everything about each other. Yeah. But you'll ask me like interview type of questions where like, okay, I gotta talk about a hard day. Like, okay, what's the biggest lessons you've learned since starting aviation? I'm like, that is so funny. Like interview type questions.
I want to know.
I know, but it's like it's funny to me because I'm like I've never. I mean, maybe couples do that, but that's one thing I wasn't expecting in marriage is to be like talking as if we're always on first dates. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I like to think that I'm becoming an expert in everything I do, in my career, in running. In
spouse.
The podcast, but especially my spouse. And you and I believe that we're pretty much one. Like, we're sealed and everything. And why would I not do that? Like, why would I not try and get to know the person that I love the most? And so it's like, anytime that I want to learn about, like, I don't know, getting after it or something like that, I want to know my wife's opinion first. So like, yeah, when I ask you questions of, hey, what did you learn in aviation this past year that you didn't expect to learn or something like that? It's like, I want to know what she's getting after and what she's learned, because I'd rather listen to you than Tony Robbins or someone else, you know, and then it just makes our relationship better. And I get to know, you know, what frustrates you and what makes you excited and all those things. And it's just fun. Like, getting to know a person on that level, I think also makes you just more comfortable with that person, which leads to, you don't need to be on your phone so much. You're just with them.
Right. I think you're very good at that. I just was like surprised, but it's fun because it's like to see and to be loved, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the more that we just continue to like ask questions and just know each other better and better, it's not that I think that we have so much to learn, because like we really are, we spend all of our time together, so I feel like we do know each other really well. But like those like questions that you just really don't ask people like that you're close with, fair. Like you don't really think about that, but then it's like, you know, what makes me frustrated better, you know, like what I like and what I don't like. And so then when the time comes, like, and something's bothering me, you have a pretty good idea what it is, because you know what has bothered me in all these other categories, because you literally kind of study me.
Yeah, I mean,
in a good way, but
sounds creepy.
I think it makes our marriage stronger, just always trying to understand how the other person's brain works, because even though we're one, we both work very differently.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very, very differently.
What have you learned about me that surprised you?
I wasn't expecting how, what's the right word?
Go all out, and you don't have to censor it.
I'm not censoring. Our family is very with the flow. I have never have seen just like such a rigid routine. And I think you have loosened up a bit, and I have become more strict, so we have balance. But that's just one thing I didn't know about you. Like, until we lived together, I didn't know as much, is that you're very good at sticking with the same routine. Yeah. Like,
I learned something from Jocko the other day. Okay. I forgot. He talks about this. But he says that discipline is critical. Like, you need to be disciplined. But then he asked the question, he's like, can you overdo discipline? And his answer was yes, you for sure can. Wow. And so he said you can get so, he used the word target fixation, which is when you're in war and like you only see one target, you're not looking at like your peripherals or anything like that. So you're just staring at the one. And he's like, that can happen to you in daily life. Like, if you get so disciplined with working out, that's your life, and you're neglecting time with your family, or you're neglecting time at work because you're so disciplined with working out, then that's going to have a negative effect on your life. And the same thing can be said about anything that you do. Like, I could be so disciplined where I'm like, I'm only going to talk to Allie. But then like my social skills would tank, and then you'd probably get annoyed with me and like all these things. But I think there is a point where you can overdo discipline, because like, you need to be disciplined. You have to have that to have success and to help with consistency. But if you're not like, if you're neglecting other areas of your life because you're so disciplined in one, it's negative. And so that is one thing I'm like, okay, well, for me, yes. You're so patient with me when we go on vacations. I struggle quite a bit on vacations.
Vacations are our toughest, I will say.
But I'm learning.
I'm proud.
I'm getting a little bit less rigid, like you said. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely something that's tested me. And that's one thing, honestly, that like, I think I probably needed to learn, is how to be a little bit more flexible. And you've taught me that. You've taught me how to do that. So that's another reason, like, I want to know how your brain ticks so I can learn how to be a little bit less rigid, you know? It's like, what works for you can work for me. It's
just so funny to think that some people's strengths are other people's weaknesses. Like, one thing about me, not that disciplined. If there's chocolate chips in the cupboard, I'm eating them. And that's just how it goes. I will say, the only thing I've ever seen Brett not disciplined in is his granola bars.
Oh, jeez.
I have never seen a man put down granola bars the way Brett does. I bought 2 Costco boxes of granola bars. He ate the first box so fast. And evidently, and this is when I'm out of town. And he only does it when I'm out of town. evidently he was getting deep into the second box that he threw away the other 60 bars in there.
Listen, I don't know what it is. It's like I'll read or do something and I'll eat like 15.
Nice.
It's just like that's 1,500 calories. And then like in my head I'm like, oh, I'm an athlete. I probably need some more.
I'm an athlete.
I'll go and like grab like 5 more and be like, that's only 2,000 calories. Like I ran 10 miles today. I got like 2,000 more I could
You're
eat.
so ridiculous.
And then I'll just like tell myself these stories and then go down there. I just love them. That's really it. I just
the
love
shocking
them.
thing to me is not that you're overeating your calories in like any other food. I've only ever seen you eat granola bars like this.
Yeah, I don't really think I have a reason or an answer for that on why that's the case.
You just love them?
I think I just love them.
That cracks me up.
I
So
mean,
we're
here's
not
the
allowed
deal.
to buy granola
Fat
bars
Brett,
for a little
I always
bit.
say Fat Brett.
He's in there.
He's in there and he
I love
lurks.
him. He lurks.
He lurks in there. And sometimes like when I don't know, I've been playing video games a little bit more recently.
I have noticed that as well. All these habits coming out when I'm out of town.
Well, I got to keep myself busy. But the food one, there's no explanation for that. But like when I'll go into that, I'll like get into old habits,
That makes sense.
And I think it's something that I think everyone goes through is like old habits are always there. Mm-hmm. And then you like have it for a second and you're like, man, that was kind of nostalgic.
Especially when it was like, like you enjoyed it back in the day.
Yeah. But then I feel like crap now and it's like, I got to stop. So to your point, yes, we're not allowed to have granola bars in the home for a while.
And that's okay. I was a little bummed to come home to no granola bars.
I was a little bummed to come home to no sourdough.
Okay, I've been out of town for a week. Cut it out. I'm just kidding. No, but what Jocko's saying, like you can't have too much discipline. How do you think that being married has affected your discipline? I'm curious. Because I feel like you were really disciplined before we got married. I didn't know to what extent.
Yeah.
We got married, crazy disciplined. How do you think it's changed?
I think I've gotten better with discipline. I think with marriage specifically, what I'm learning is that you go through certain things in life and you have to learn how to be disciplined in this new area. So we'll say marriage. Like you have to learn what discipline looks like in marriage. And it means for me, sacrifice. Like I always tell you that I always think of you first before myself. Like you always come first before me. And I think that there's a lot to that, but it requires discipline because then you can fall into like, I had a long day at work. I don't want to make dinner. Like I'm just going to go sit on the couch. Allie can make dinner. Like,
which I can, and I feel bad how often you make dinner.
No. And I know that, but I love cooking and it's important to me. And I love providing something for you where we're able to share a meal together. And did I just say that weird? Did I say together? Anyways, but I think it is important. And so discipline has taught me to not sacrifice, but forget about myself a little bit more. And I think that's the discipline that comes from marriage. Then also, I think my discipline's gotten stronger because I have something more to live for now. Like I have a wife and she expects me to be healthy and to take care of myself. And I want to be there for her my entire life. And I have to stay disciplined with taking care of myself and not eating 64 granola bars in 2 days. And it's just important. And so it also makes me work harder at work. Like I want to make sure that I can buy Allie nice things and take care of her and we can go out to dinner and not have to worry about the price tag kind of thing. And we're very blessed, but a lot of it comes from discipline. And so I don't know. I think it's almost like my discipline has 2x'd when we're together. Like when you're here, it's very rare I miss a workout in the morning. Mm-hmm. Like unless we're cuddling, but like, I don't know. I want to make you proud. I want you to be proud of the husband that you have. So it's like that drives me too. And like, you're not gonna be proud of a husband that sits on the couch and eats Cheetos. You might, but you'd probably be more proud of a husband that gets after it. And so like, I don't know. I just think about those kind of things too. And, like I've wanted to learn more and I've taken investing more seriously because like I have 2 people to plan for now and hopefully 3 and 4, it's like, I just want to provide a good life for you and I want it to be the best husband it can be. And so that requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of sacrifice, but it's worth it. Like right. 20, 30, 40 times over, it's worth it. And having someone that I always tell you this, that believes in me and that is like my biggest strength is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so, yeah, like I will learn everything about you because I love you and you're my best friend and I want to. And then I'm going to work super hard in every area of my life so that we can have a great life. And I don't know, you're just like the most important thing to me. So I don't know why I wouldn't be disciplined in that area.
That was a good answer.
Was it?
That was sweet. Yes. It seems like, I mean, you talked about this a little bit on your last couple podcasts, but it seems like what you're saying has to do with there's a lot of adaptability and discipline. And I feel like that's not as talked about because discipline you kind of think of like you
consistency.
Consistency?
You have to be adaptable with consistency, but also discipline. You're right.
Well, what I mean by that is if like how you were saying in the other podcast, if you're so like what you were saying, like if you're so disciplined in your workouts, like that's all that matters, and you're narrow visioned, then it becomes it could be a fault. Like if you were so disciplined and be creating a life for us, for me and our future kids, because you're working so hard, you're working out so hard. If you're doing these things for me, but you're not adapting to like spending time with us and being present, like discipline has so many different avenues, and you can be disciplined in one thing, but still be flexible enough to include other aspects. Yeah. And I feel like you've been talking about that a lot with your other podcasts and how it's important to be able to like reevaluate and make sure your discipline's where it needs to be. Yeah. Focus on the right things, I guess. And I think you've been doing really well at taking in all the things that you want to be disciplined in and putting the right energy where you need to have them. Well, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
So it's been
fun.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been really fun. I feel like it's always a learning curve when you get married, you move in, you have new routines, new lifestyles. Yeah. And of course, it was like a transition when we got married. But it's fun when you start spending more and more time together and you realize like you learn kind of like your role. Yeah. It's like, okay, while you're making dinner, I'm setting the table. While you're doing this, I'm doing this. You know, it's like we kind of get into your routines, but also it can be flexible. Like, okay, I'm making dinner this time. That means now you're setting the table. It's like unspoken things that I think helps make our home run smoothly. Yeah, I think that's from your discipline in the right areas.
Well, you're also very disciplined. You said that you're not, because I would not have married an undisciplined person.
That's true. Maybe I put on a facade.
I think you do. I think you think that you're not. I mean, we're training right now for Team Tim's in 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
About 2 weeks, yeah. 23rd.
Yeah, something like that.
So
came up quick.
Team Tim, I mean, you have to be consistent in that. You have to be disciplined in running. And you're setting up everything for that. Like the shirts, the dinner, I assume, or the lunch, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. Like you're leading that. And then we have a marathon coming up in June. That requires a lot of discipline.
That one's going to spank my tushy.
It's going to be tough. Hopefully Nick Bear's healed up by then. Please, Nick. I want to race against you. But the other thing too is like in your career, like you're disciplined as with being a pilot. You learn things that come your way, like new protocols or whatever procedures that you have to learn. And then like you're always on top of it. You're always there, ready for work. Like that's discipline. Like the fact that I have to take you to the airport after this, like the fact that you're in Arizona is discipline. And you're very disciplined with faith. Like that's one thing that I think you cannot overlook is your discipline with faith. Like, and what I mean by that is one, obviously you study, you learn, and you do the things that are important. But then two, you also like obey the commandments. Like you're not out there stealing and killing people. So even though you listen to true crime, you're not doing it.
The stories aren't about me.
That's fair.
That's where it matters. Well, thank you. That means a lot. I think I try to put like with the discipline things you're saying with faith, I think that one probably, besides faith and family, those definitely are where I strive to put all that energy into. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that everyone thinks is that they're not disciplined.
Right.
Because
sometimes it feels
you
like
have to choose the hard stuff, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to go to work if I want my job. It doesn't take discipline. That's like a responsibility. Yeah. And it's like the discipline I feel like comes from doing the things that aren't required of you, but you're doing for a better life. And so it's like going to work. Yeah, I don't have a choice because I want a job, but it's like not eating the chocolate chips. And I guess running could be included since we're choosing to run and stuff and have a healthy lifestyle.
We're very blessed that we can.
Right. And so I feel like that discipline it's sometimes hard to identify when my discipline is like in weird areas right now. Like you're watching your discipline, it's like all really impressive, help, like life improving things. And my discipline's like, I got to finish my blanket in time for the baby shower. Like,
which is nice.
Dumb things though, but like doesn't affect me either way, you know?
But it's going to affect the person you give it to.
I hope so.
And it's going to be a nice thing. So, I mean, like,
it's just, there's a lot of faces to it.
Yeah. And I would say it's like what Drew and I talked about a few podcasts ago, like 10 maybe, about choose your hard.
Right.
Like you got to figure out what life you want and then choose the path that's going to get you there. And oftentimes that looks like the hard path, but the rewards are much better. And it's like with you and me, like we were talking about, you know, we're not on TikTok, which is the easy solution. Like if you don't have anything to talk about, sure, pull out your phone. Mm-hmm. But if you're there and you're present and you're disciplined enough to stay in the present, then you're going to build your relationship.
Right.
And it's better.
And a strong, healthy relationship is the biggest cheat code for life.
It's crazy.
Like, I cannot believe how much better and easier life gets having like an additional part of me out there supporting me. It's incredible.
Marriage is great.
Marriage is great. Everyone get married. I wish everyone could find their true loves for easily because it's the best.
It's very nice.
And I'm grateful.
Me too. Anything else, love, that you want to talk about or that's on your mind?
Can't say that things on my mind. Remember, I don't really have deep thoughts, but
you should listen to some of our conversations. She has deep thoughts.
I know. Sometimes we talk about having like a microphone set up at dinner because we just have interesting conversations.
Yeah, with dementia and stuff.
Yeah, dementia being our shared notes and what we talk about during the day. Yeah,
this is another marriage tip for everyone out there.
Call it what you want. Dementia is a little sad, I think, but it helps us not have dementia.
But so it's a shared Apple Note that we have that we call dementia, and each day we have a new entry where we'll go throughout our day, and if anything comes up that we want to talk to each other about it at dinner, and it could be the most random things, like I learned something about a bird I want to tell you, or I tell you about a car, or like something random, or the Romans.
Usually it's about the Romans.
I love them. But anyways, like it's just little things like that I don't know, it just makes you think of the person, be like, I want to share this with Allie at dinner. Like I think she'll get a kick out of this or something, you know? It's important. I feel like most of these things that we put on dementia is like we want to talk about, but not like in one text, you know? Yeah. It's like, oh, this is like a curious thing. I want to have a conversation. Or like we've been working on figuring out things for our new home. So like the mortgage stuff. Yeah. I'm like putting that in our shared notes that we can talk about at dinner. I don't forget. So a lot of things is like, okay, let's have the conversation. I don't want to send you one text saying like, hey, here's what we have to do in order to get this loan. Instead, put on the notes so at dinner time, it can be a discussion rather than... Because otherwise I freak out. That's true. He does become a little bit of a baby. Yeah. No, but... Admittedly so. But the idea being you're having conversations rather than putting it in one text where you read it and move on and don't talk about it. So it's been fun for us. We like having those conversations. Like at dinner, you pull out your phone and be like, okay, number one on the list. We have our agenda. Yeah. And then usually we only get like 2 in because we're talking so much about the things that we put on, and just keeps it's fun. All the things we want to talk about. Now we don't forget. We don't see a funny TikTok and forget to talk about it later. It's true. Yeah. Or like something random. Yeah. So it's been fun for us. Keeps things interesting. Yeah. Always keeps us learning. That's true. But I don't know. I don't know if I have anything extra. That's okay. That's all I'm really doing in this life is I haven't been baking as much, and I'm so sorry about that. That's all right. I will want to get back. Nope. But baking, sewing, painting, flying, running, and podcasting. And getting after it. And getting after it, baby. That's right. You. Yep. In the flesh. But thanks for coming on. I always love talking to you. Always a pleasure. I could talk to you for hours. I don't know if the listeners would like that, but I would. So until next episode, everyone, keep getting after it. Thank you.